Hi again, 6th grade. This is our second half of the week lessons. There's quite a bit to get through today, so stay with me, have your book in front of you. We're going to be on page 230. We're going to talk about well or good, okay? How many of you have said, when someone said, "How are you doing today?" and you're like, "I'm good." We've talked about this before. That's actually an incorrect way of speaking. This word good is always an adjective. The reason why you would not say, "I am good," is because you need an adverb describing how you are. You need something that's going to describe this. Well, adjectives cannot describe verbs. Here, you're trying to say, "I equal good," okay? Which is not really what you're saying. You're not saying "I equal good." You're saying "I am good." You're wanting to describe that verb am. Okay, so instead of saying good here, you actually need the word well. Okay, now that's not to say that well, this word well, it can be good. Remember, this word good is always an adjective, but this word well, this example well, it can be an adverb or an adjective. It can be either or. Okay? It can function as one or the other. Okay? You can use the word good to describe, when used with this, like, "I am good at soccer." Then you're not talking about how you are. You're saying good, like "I equals good because of the soccer." That's a lot different. Now this is being used as an adjective. But if you're talking about how you're feeling or how you're being, then it would be describing that verb am. And in that sense, you would need well, just for "I am well." But if you're talking about being good at something, then that's being used correctly as an adjective. So now let's look at some examples with well. Let's see this. Your book says, "Grace skates well." Why would it be well instead of good? We wouldn't say Grace skates good. The reason why is because we're not talking about Grace being good. We're talking about how she's skating, right? And well is the one that can be an adverb describing skates. So that's the reason why it would be well here. Okay, if we were describing Grace, we could say that she's good, but we're not here. We're talking about describing how she skates. All right, then this one. This is your next example. Supposedly you have been sick, and now you feel well enough to return to school. If we're talking about someone's health, I feel well. This is I equals well. It also, you could say, is describing how you feel. So you could say that this is an adverb, but anytime we're talking about someone's health, how they are, we would always use well in this sense as an adjective to describe their health. That's when well would be used as an adjective, okay? And that's what your book says. It tells well is an adjective telling how something is done, or it describes a person's health, and that would be when it would be used as an adjective. So good, again, always an adjective. Well can be either. It's an adverb when it's describing how something is done. It's an adjective when it's describing someone's health. Okay? All right, now turn to page 231. We're going to talk about diagramming adjectives. Not adjectives, excuse me, adverbs. just like adjectives, you need to remember adverbs must touch the word they modify. Remember, that word modify means describe as well, okay? So adjectives must touch the word that they're describing. All right, so if it's modifying a verb, okay, it's going to touch the verb, okay? Fish, swim effortlessly. Okay? Fish is my subject, swim is my verb, effortlessly is telling how they swim. So it's an adverb. So my diagram, subject, verb, and it's going to touch the word it describes. Okay? All right. If the adverb is modifying another adjective, okay? The most graceful diver, one. Diver, one, is my sentence. And then we have a couple of different things here. We have graceful diver. So this is an adjective that's describing the diver. And most is describing how graceful she is, to what extent, which means that's the adverb. And the is always an adjective describing the noun. Okay? So I have diver, one. And then I have graceful. She was graceful. The is also always an adjective. And then underneath here is where I would put most, because most is describing graceful. Now, notice instead of drawing a line directly sideways underneath so that it points this way, I just gave it like a little leg first, so that I can still keep it in being parallel with the adjective line. Okay. Now, the last thing is we know we can have them describe other adverbs. When that's the case, it's going to look just like it does when it describes another adjective, but instead it's going to come off this line where it describes another adverb. So the sentence they give us is swimmers train very hard. Swimmers train very hard. Okay? Now, subject, swimmers, train, and then hard is how they train. So this is an adverb describing train. And very tells me to what extent hard. Okay? So, swimmers train. And then I'm going to have an adverb coming off of train because it describes how they train. And then very describes to what extent that they train hard. Okay? All right, so these are your 3 scenarios for diagramming adjectives. I do not expect you guys to diagram all of the sentences on page 231. So if you just want to do evens or odds, either one is fine, just so that you get practice in both sections. Don't skip complete sections, okay? And then on page 232, they're talking about prepositional phrases as adverbs. Actually, I may do another video for this because this will probably be the last part of the week. So you can just pick up the next video if you're ready for it. If not, you can wait until tomorrow.